Good Monday morning, everyone. Oh my gosh, I've got beef with the Texas weather, okay? Before we get into that, you guys are listening to me, Amy, Russell, Valerie, and our lovely author guest today is Seth. You guys listen, okay? Last week started off rainy and then it went all sunny and it was beautiful. I mean, it was cold in the morning, but then it was like 70. You know, this Texan girl, I can handle that with like a little sweater, okay? Now we're back to the rain. It's killing
Okay,
me.
Seth, did you hear that? 70 in a sweater.
Hey,
That's
I
Texas.
did it. I'm in South Dakota. It is currently 20
No,
degrees with the wind blowing and snow. So
okay,
no, it's
listen,
not.
we're not
See, that's
comparing.
part of the joke.
We're not comparing,
Just
okay?
say.
I am a Texan girl through and through, and 70, we're wearing sweaters. Okay, my own mama, Seth,
It's
makes fun
true.
of
It's
me.
true.
So in my family, I am the only one that was born in Texas. I'm like the only true Texan in my family. And my mama loves it cold. Like she's like, oh, Amy, it's 60 at 5. I'm going to wear a t-shirt. And I'm like, Mom, it's freeze your butt off. Okay, I'm wearing a sweater. So she started making fun of me. She's like, you are my only Texas child. But whatever. I have really thin blood, I guess. I am
He has thin
freezing.
skin, too.
Well, true. Josh, okay, you guys listen. Russell's going to love this. Okay? So, Seth, my husband is a first generation Indian, okay?
And he
So
suffers from, Amy's idiosyncrasies
so
all the
he's
time.
so he's South Indian. So he's darker than I am, okay? So he's South Indian. And I'm super white. I get tan during the summer and during the winter I get like really white. But he tells me white is not a color, so he calls me transparent. So he
you get
just
called
tells
that all
You
me,
the time.
actually
yeah,
are transparent. He
I
doesn't mean
know.
it that
I
way.
told you Russell was going to love this. Anyways, so he just tells me that it's because I'm transparent that I get cold so often. But anyway, so I have beef with the Texas weather right now. I know I live in a bipolar state and this weather is crazy, but this cloudiness and like eeriness in December really needs to go. Okay. Christmas is next week. I am still behind on my Christmas shopping. I still need to pack. And then there's this stupid thing called laundry that just refuses to do itself that I need to do in order to be ready for next week. Okay. Because then after Christmas, I'm going to visit my granny, which is the kid's great grandmother, for a couple days. So my laundry's got to be on top of it. And all of you guys know I suck at laundry, Seth. I'm terrible. I will restart the load in the washer 2 or 3 times. Like I am terrible at it. But in terms of weekends, we went to a birthday party. It was much calmer this weekend than it was last weekend, going to all the Christmas stuff
None
in
of your
town.
birthday parties are calm.
I
None of
mean,
them.
okay. So Seth,
He
I
has
have a
like 50
5.
kids.
I have
Seth.
I have 2. I have a 5 and a 6-year-old. He just says that because they're 13 months apart, but whatever. He has more kids than I do. Anyways, so we went to a birthday party, and then now, you guys, next week I'm sitting here gearing up into. Well, no, actually, it's this week. To be honest, see, I'm losing count. This week I have friggin' Christmas days for this week for the kids, and then their Christmas party on Friday. Holy crap, you guys, I have to get ready for that. Okay, listen, I'm behind all over the place. Okay, so I hope you guys had a better weekend than I did, and you guys are way more prepared for Christmas than I am, but I would love to hear it. Russell, I love your tree in the background.
It's a nice
Super
tree.
festive. Valerie is frozen. So, Russell, I'm going to let you go first because Valerie is frozen.
Yes, but she has a nice expression with her frozen face
It's
right
true.
now.
She does.
She does.
And thank you for my compliment about the tree that we've been able to put up in the money pit that we have moved into. We're very happy about that. So, my weekend story is a little different than yours. I did a podcast before a state crime writers group that I was very nervous about, and my publicist Mickey was very nervous about because he was he was nervous. Of course, Mickey's always nervous, but that's another story. But I was actually nervous about the presentation because I couldn't figure out. It wasn't a podcast, Seth, like this, or
Mm,
where you're answering questions. They wanted to know if I had a PowerPoint, if what my
Wow.
presentation plan, and I was like, "What? No, I'm just going to tell jokes."
you want
Yeah.
hard?
But 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 I had that Saturday, and I got to tell you, it was the most pleasant group of people. They were wonderful,
Mm.
and uh, actually, because I was nervous, I actually planned it a little bit too much. So I had this whole introduction thing that I don't know if you've ever spoken to a group before and known you were completely flat. Have you ever done that and known that you were
Every
just
time.
going flat and it
Yes.
wasn't? Oh, every time. So you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
And so uh, about 10 minutes in, no responses. They weren't really clued in. So I just started telling uh, jury trial war stories,
Oh,
uh,
Okay.
and
Mhm.
and then started tying in stuff from their state into it, and getting them involved in questions about how their state is different than the state that I was trying that jury trial in. And all of a sudden, we had this great conversation that instead of lasting 45 minutes, it lasted almost 90.
nice.
It was great. So that just tells you uh, if you're dealing with a situation and you can't seem to connect, sometimes a story with a hook of the people that's listening to you, something about them that's in the story, it'll reel them in. It worked out real well.
I love it.
Nice.
I want to hear some of your
Yeah.
war stories. That would make a fantastic book, Russell. I love it. I love it.
That's
Let's
true.
see.
That's true.
Right? Valerie, what about you? What did you do this weekend or past 2 weekends because you
I
haven't been here?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, so much going on. Just crazy. Well, I just did my last holiday market of the season, and it was so great. It was with Klein ISD, Special Education Department. That was their third annual event, and so it was great. They had kids working, kids selling, kids, coming around, checking on you. But it's a great market. It's very, very family friendly. Just very feel good vibes. What else did I do? Oh, and we went to Christmas Village at Bayou Bend, which I've never been to here in Memorial area. So
Nice.
it's a very cool place. I've only been there during the spring when it's like the azalea trail. So there's like azaleas and you can walk and walk, and it's just amazing. But this is like you cross the bridge and it's dark and the bridge is lit up and there's lights throughout the whole gardens, and you can even take the historical tour of I'm a Hog's house there, and they tell you the whole history, and then they put a little twist on it with Santa coming into the historic house. But that was great. That was so great. And then Sunday, just trying to recover and watch some football. I love that.
Right.
Right.
So
I get it. I get it. Seth, what about
Football's always
you?
fun. Oh well, I had a good weekend. So my birthday was December 3rd, and so no, we can't
perfect.
have dinner on my birthday because it gets dark at 4 o'clock. No one wants to drive, so we always give it to Saturday, and everyone eats brunch together. And we went out, so that was fun. Got opens presents, see the family. Kids ran around. The daughter, I had the great fun of agreeing to the fact that she should have pancakes with whipped cream and sprinkles and all the sugar that was
Nice.
needed.
Okay.
And she got a
That's what
very
it's all about, Seth.
okay.
I
So
love
she got
it.
very active on the floor in Perkins, just getting all hyper, and so that was fun. It's always a great time. And then I did what I always get to have fun with. So I don't know about you, but for now I'm reaching that age where like all I want is books for the most part for my birthday. So I just ask for money and Barnes and Noble gift cards and stuff. So I went on a shopping spree and bought a good 6 months worth of books. So
Okay,
Wow.
wait. Seth,
Nice.
what are the top 3 books you bought this weekend?
let's see.
Ooh.
Well, I decided to re-buy Animal Farm because I read it back when it was like in high school. So I know
Yes.
what happened, but I didn't really remember it. So I got that one. Then I got Frankenstein as well because I've never read it. I've always wanted to read it, but I've yet to ever do it. So I got that one. And then let's see, what else did I get? Another one about World War II. It's one of the invasions. I can't remember which one, but I'd have to go back and look. But yeah, those were the top 3 I'm very excited for. I've already read Animal Farm, actually. I read it in like a day because I forgot how short it was. I thought it was bigger,
Yes.
but
I actually made all of my children, when they hit the 6th grade, read Animal Farm during the summer and talk to their dad about it. That was the thing in our family.
yeah, no, it was a good
Okay,
book.
I need to
Right.
thank our listeners. we're top 1% in Good Pods and some other podcasts. And we're very grateful. And thank you very much about it. We've been on the air about 10 years. We were on podcast for about 5 months when I could never find us ever. And I would always gripe at Amy because I would like, I hardly believe that we're really due on the podcast channels because I couldn't find us.
He
Then
would.
Amy did some things, and even low tech Russell could find us. Amy, where can people find us on our podcast channel?
That's true, you guys. I don't miss getting harassed by Russell right after our show. I don't miss that at all. But no, you can find us anywhere that you can look for a podcast. So my go-to is Spotify, Amazon. If you're an Apple user, iTunes. If you are an Android user, Google Play. If you like watching them, I thoroughly enjoy them. I don't know. I'm a visual person, though. You can go over to our YouTube channel,
And
our
transparent.
Facebook.
She's
You're
transparent.
transparent. You can go over to our YouTube channel, our Facebook group, or any one of our social media channels. You can follow us and engage with us live on Monday mornings at 10 a.m. Central Time. We like to engage and answer your questions live in time or after the fact. So feel free to go on over there. But Russell, we have an ongoing conversation.
I know, but I want to start with a question to Seth that we have asked
Go for
several
it.
authors on our show, and we get great answers. Seth,
Yeah.
have you heard anything before about fans of particular genre or authors actually having tattoos of phrases of their books or their covers put on their body?
I have never heard of that, actually. I can
Boom.
see
Once
it.
again, we get a no. Okay, that's
So,
how,
can I be honest with you?
yes.
That would be a dream to actually because I have like a Monty Python kind of sense of humor. So I would
Oh,
love
so
to be
you have a
walking down
great
the
sense of
street
humor.
and someone just walks up to me and they lift up their shirt and it's like the cover with my name on it and maybe like a skull and a weird motorcycle. Just some great picture.
Okay.
I'd be like, you know
You
what?
may be in the wrong genre then. You may be in the
I'm
because
in
let me
horror
tell
genre,
you,
so
this conversation that we're having before we get started is last winter I decided I was into this thing about Indian book festivals in major Indian cities. They're just a total different world than the book festivals here. They're young people, they're like rock concerts, they're packed, they're huge parties, and they're book festivals. And the middle class 20s and 30s something in India are reading and going to these book festivals. It's a big deal. It's not, and I was like, what? Where in America is that happening? And I was looking for it. And I noticed on a book festival advertisement, I think it was St. Louis at the time, that they had a tattoo artist there. And I was like, what?
Uh-huh.
So on the show, I mentioned, what? Why do they have tattoo artists at book festivals? And that's when Amy started this year-long education of me. Amy, explain.
It's not a year-long conversation. So Russell talked about how some of these book cons have tattoo artists at them. And I interrupted and said, was it a romance book event? And Russell said, yes, I think it was. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense because at these romance book events, they tend to have tattoo artists because dark romance readers like myself, I don't have any tattoos, but like myself in terms of readership, get those books, quotes, and those kinds of things tattooed on their body live at these events. Or
I have another question for Seth.
Okay.
Seth, do you know what dark romance is?
I do. I've actually read
I
some.
did not.
So, yes,
I had never heard of that.
He
How
had
do
no
you know?
idea. He had no idea.
Yeah. I think I can't remember the title of the last one I read, but I didn't even know it was dark romance, actually. I thought it was just a demon book, and then it started to get spicy. And I was like, well, okay, that's the road we're going down. And I must have been blushing a little because my wife was like, are you okay? What are you reading? And I'm like, don't worry about it.
It's crazy because I slowly I dripped into it, and I didn't intentionally drip into it. I just had a title of a book that I really liked, and it kind of just led me down dark romance, right? Like it was called The Sacrifice at the time. I had seen a lot of like videos about it, but I was like, okay, it's not really going to be that dark. That was a freaking dark book, like pretty dark. And I don't know. It's just something about reading it. I don't know. It's weird, but if you read it and you enjoy it, then you understand what I'm saying. But so there was this whole conversation. This is the whole conversation me and Russell have been having. And we've had people come on and talk about the romance genre that work in it and kind of dive a little bit deeper into it. But Russell, I don't have the image. I know you can, get on to me later. But this lady posted in one of my romance groups. And I should have screenshotted it, but I will go and find it and send it to you later today,
Please.
Russell. She got an entire book cover tattooed on her back.
Wow.
And it was a dark romance one. So it had like a vampire holding like the skull carrying a girl. And it was like all on her back. And she said, check out my latest book tattoo. And I was like,
how old is this
crap.
woman?
I mean, there are people that are like my age or older. So like, I'm 33. So mid 30s and up, so it's crazy. It's crazy. So I was like, holy crap, I got to show Russell, but I'm going to tell you since I didn't take a photo, but I will find it.
You need to put it on the show next week, that picture.
I will. I'll put it up there because it was crazy. I was like, Russell needs to see this because he, a lot of them, Seth, do little quotes like run little mouths or you vow, I vow, we vow, right? Which is from the Lord series, which is what The Sacrifice is in. They do like little ones like that, but this was a full back tat. I mean, it was the biggest one I've seen. And
not a dragon.
Yeah.
Not of a dragon. But I had to tell you, Russell, because I was like, it still is a very thing.
I'm stunned. I do. I have another question for Seth. And then I need to turn it over. I need to give up to Valerie so she can actually interview him about his book, which is why he's here. Seth, if someone was going to tattoo a phrase from your book, the memorable thing that a reader would love in your book, what phrase would they use?
Oh,
and I know this is a completely unfair question. I admit it is.
My goodness. The only one I can think of for some reason is in the interim when they're going into the cave to face the monster, and they one of the characters asks the main character Betty. She goes, "So which way do we go?" And Betty sniffs and goes, "I like this way because it smells better." She goes, "Well, that's good enough for me." Nice. And I don't know why that, for some reason, like I said, because I have that Monty Python sense of humor, that would be the quote that I would get. That's what someone would walk up to me on the street, be like, "Here's your quote from the book." And I'm like, out of all the things I've written, that's nice. The one, huh? That's the one that stuck out to you. Okay, wonderful.
Nice.
But wait, now Russell needs to answer. Russell needs to answer that question. What quote would you put from your book?
I wouldn't be able to answer it. Seth did a better job than me. I would not be able to answer it.
I don't know. Yeah, Marilyn.
I didn't quote it right, but that would be the line. I just feel like that would be it.
That's a good
I'm sure I have better, but yeah, I just can't think of.
I know, because I caught you just on the spot.
On the fly.
Yeah. I'm gonna start doing that. That's a very unfair question that I like.
But, that makes sense with the dark romance being tattoos, though. Back to that topic, because when you do go to a bookstore and you look at all the covers and you look at all, there is a lot of really good designs that would be good tattoos.
Yeah,
so that does make sense.
Yeah.
Well, and dark romance right now, we talked about this several months ago. 80% of readership right now is dark romance, and on top of that, it dominates
80%
TikTok.
of fiction books purchased.
Yes,
dark romance,
and then on top of that, it's dominating TikTok. Like if you're not a dark romance, don't even get on it. But it makes sense, right? Because then you have all these people that are talking constantly about these quotes and all these things, and so it makes sense. But you know what else makes sense, Seth? The fact that you wrote a book and we want to talk about it. So Valerie, let's get Seth talking about his book because this is a love of mine. And so let's get Seth talking about his book and his genre of book. So take it away.
Sure. Okay. Let's first meet you because we haven't really officially met you. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you wandered into the world of authorship?
I wandered into it at a very early age. I was one of those Goosebump fans, when I was a little little kid, middle school, elementary school, and all that stuff. So that's what introduced me right away. So I consider myself dark fiction just because it incorporates everything with thriller, suspense, horror, all that stuff. I bet you could just say I'm horror as well, depending on the book. But yeah, that's how I got into it. And I actually wrote my first novel when I was 18 in high school. It was my senior year of high school. So that's how early I started. I took a little bit of a break when I got into college and in the field I'm in now, and didn't really start taking it seriously again until about 10, 11 years ago. So I really got back into it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I love the Steelers.
What pulled you back in?
Someone mentioned Texas. So whenever Texas, I think football, then I'm like, I have to mention I'm a Steelers fan, by the way.
That's good. None of us are Dallas Cowboy fans.
Well, oh, good. I was going to get, I was hoping for some rifting, but
no, no, we're Texans over here. But yeah, so what pulled you back into it after that long period of time?
So 2 things. One was, remember when The Walking Dead and Fear of the Walking Dead was like at its peak? It's a very big peak. So I'd always written like small things here and there, but I was sitting there going, I'd really like to write a zombie novel, but not be the same as the rest of the, all these zombies that are coming out and all these stories and all these books. And then I had that thought of just going, I really should get back into writing. Let's try it, because I haven't done it in a while. Like, I haven't really attempted a novel, like I said, since when I was in high school. It was kind of short stories up until then. But then I had another thought that came back to me, because do you remember when swine flu? For those of you old enough to remember swine flu. Mm-hmm. And I was on a walk, and my thought was, when I was on the walk, what would it be like to be immune from a virus or some pandemic thing and have to watch everyone else suffer? What would it be? What would it feel like to be, like you're perfectly safe, but yet everything else is burning around you? So that thought came back to me when I was watching The Walking Dead. I was like, I'm going to incorporate that. And eventually, as I continued working on the story, I just fell in love with the whole horror again, because I was also a fan of Stephen King and, all of those Dean Koontz and Anne Rice and all the, the great dark fiction horror authors. So that's really what it got in. But I wanted to also, like I said, didn't want to do a zombie novel that was the same. So what I did in Immune, which is the book is what it's called, they come out of the zombie phase and they remember how society treated them. And so there's the whole story is a lot about class and the fight against each other. So there's the immune, who are immune from the virus and even becoming zombies and all of that. And then there's the inflicted, who are the ones who get the virus, become zombies, come out of it, and then they reshape and rebuild society. So there's a lot of war of classes in the story. That's, But yeah, I just fell in love with it. Just kept going.
How is this different from your other 3 books?
Oh, much. So I don't have a series or anything like that. So The Interim, that's a straight horror novel. That's about a small town in South Dakota named Cooper. And it's basically a cursed town where for 12 days in October, it's cursed by a creature named Leopold. And Leopold basically does what he can to eat you. And there's rules to how to survive. And so the premise of the story was, because when I was sitting there writing it, I was going, well, why would you want to live in a town where for 12 days out of the year you have to hide in your house and not, fight for your life and try not to get eaten? So the solution to that was, well, what would you do to deal with utopia? Because so then I explained, for the rest of the whole year, everything's peaceful. There's no crime. There's no anything. There's no negativity. There's nothing. Everyone just lives kind of peaceful and happy. And so they just put up with it. And so that's what that story is about. And it's about youth, a group of youth, 5 youth, who eventually study the interim, which is what the time period is called. That's why it's called that. The 12 days is called the interim. So it's like a break from reality. And so they eventually figure out how to defeat the monster. So that's, like I said, straight horror. Then there's Midglow, which is little historical fiction. It's centered around World War II, right around Pearl Harbor. And that story is about, and that's more mystery kind of thriller. So the main character's name is Philip. And he and his cohorts go to bank robbing. And they eventually find out all the banks they're robbing are, the money's owned by the same person. And eventually they get extorted by him. And basically says he has the power to say, you can either go to prison for the rest of your life or you come work with me. And he eventually obviously decides to work with him because no one wants to go to prison. And so he starts doing these odd jobs like grave robbing and missing people start showing up, and there's just a lot of mystery. And then he starts solving the riddle of why his employer, whose name is Dragoon, Dr. Dragoon, who's a European gentleman, he kind of figures out why is he here in America, what's he doing, and why all the strangeness. And then Question 17 is my other book. That one's another dystopian about the main character's name is Corey, and it takes place 46 years after an alien invasion where Earth won. And so it's basically he's in a whole new country called Dorian, I believe it is. Yes, because I have 5 countries in the book, so I gotta remember which one he was from. It was on my place.
Nice.
So, but anyway, he gets an internship at a secret facility called the Willow Lock. It's an island in the middle of the ocean, and he slowly finds out that the founders of his country, when the alien invasion was over, they came up with a list of 27 questions, like, can we duplicate their technology? Can we, drive their ships? Stuff like that. And slowly they've been secretly solving each one, and there's only one left, which is question 17. And so he winds up helping them solve the mystery, but then it goes south in ways that I can't reveal because otherwise I'd give away stuff in the story. But basically he helps solve the mystery, but then also kind of helps ruin it because he doesn't like what's going on. So
what is it about this? Yeah, what is it about this genre that is appealing to you as a writer?
I think so. I heard it best said that writers love to create hope through weirdness. I'm not quoting that perfectly, and I forget who said it, but I kind of like that you're creating these absurd stories and, these absurd situations, things that really wouldn't happen, but yet you're building the hope to get out of it, to get through it, what it takes, and just being able to find that strength to get through things. Like in Immune is a great example. So one of the secondary characters I have is named Helen, and she kind of took over the book. Actually, you can kind of tell somewhere in the middle of the story, like, God, he really fell in love with her, which I did. She's part of the Inflicted, and then her partner, Tamara, is Immune, and they go back and forth in the book, having to take turns hiding the other person from the other class. So they're helping the class they're part of while yet having to keep the other person safe. And so there's a lot of dual relationships with their job and society while trying to love each other and keep each other safe. So just, stories like that, little things, just always, I love writing and talking about. That's kind of how I look at it.
What is the hardest part about developing characters in this kind of situation?
The smallest thing for me, I don't know about you, but with dialogue, it comes from, for me, getting all my Midwestern out of the dialogue, because we love to say, well, just, and so. Those are the 3 words are always happening. So I try to keep dialogue out of it. And then also to just try not to make sure they all sound like me. I actually got to do a little research, and, I got to think of people in my life, people I've had experience with. I'm lucky that I've traveled a lot for work across the country. So I've been able to talk to many people who are not Midwestern and do not speak like I do, which is great, but that's my biggest thing, is just making sure all the characters don't sound the same when it comes to how they speak.
Because in this story, are they coming from everywhere pretty much, right? Because they're all meeting. I'm just thinking of Justin Cronin and the passage about how they run it. There's the things happen at a perfect situation, at the beginning, but then it all evolves into a larger scene and setting. Is that how yours works as well?
Yeah, so the main character in Immune is Wyatt, and I do have him based in South Dakota. That's where it starts, but eventually it migrates to Iowa. Now, Helen is not, I actually never give her an actual solid place where she's from. Eventually, I just have them intersect later, and then she winds up working in Pennsylvania, where the new capital is formed. So yeah, so I got Pennsylvania there. Then eventually all the Immune get taken to Australia. And so I have a few people with Australia. So yeah, I definitely had to change it up a little bit.
And then how about research and, I guess, getting this background for your story for these characters? If they're going to Australia, did you have to do some research, and even for Pennsylvania, since you're from the Midwest?
Yes, I did. Well, like even when I did Iowa, I remember having to write the scene, and I I think I put a bunch of cornfields, and now sitting there going, does Iowa have a lot of cornfields? I'm trying to remember which part of Iowa has cornfields and which part doesn't. But yeah, absolutely. In Australia, because I want to have descriptions and details in there, and I want to make sure I get the plant life correct, and what the atmosphere feels like. And, oh yeah, you definitely got to do some research, because people are going to know. Yeah, it's really easy to tell when something's not right when you read it and go, that person isn't from there.
Without offering a spoiler, I mean, is this book going to be able to conclude in one book, or are you going to have a follow-up?
I've left it open to have a sequel. Definitely, for sure. I've had ideas. Helen is kind of the direction I wanted it to go if I do a sequel. I just haven't done it yet because no story has really come to fruition yet. And I don't want to just write to write. I want it to actually have some inspiration and something to come to me. But I've thought about it.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a possibility, especially if they're working so hard to survive and just battle against, the dark forces to get to that level.
Well, and Helen wound up becoming the director of the ISC, which is the replacement for the CIA. And so she is in charge of that. So that's kind of also why I wanted to go that route. So the research I did for that is I was reading Legacy of Ashes, which is about the CIA. So I did a lot of parallels from that story, and I put that in Immune as well.
Russell, you have some questions?
Yes. What were you looking for when you created the character, Helen? Did you put in some kind of idiosyncrasy that the reader could attach to, and why did you fall in love with her?
Well, first off, it started with the fact that my story, it wasn't a full-size novel when I finished it. It was about a novella-sized. And I was just sitting there going, I could do so much more with it. I had a lot of focus on the Immune and their side of the story, and I didn't have much with the Inflicted. And Helen at the time was a very short character. She was in a work camp that she was the general of a work camp where Wyatt and his Immune wind up at. And eventually I just wanted her to be promoted and just keep going. And I just wanted I love stories where there's no like true bad person. There's just two sides, and you kind of love both. You kind of can relate to both, and it kind of helps with that morality, and it kind of just makes the story more interesting, instead of just having a straight bad, presence or protagonist. And I was thinking that's what would make the story more interesting. It's just having to go back and forth between, okay, I don't like what they're doing to the other class, but yet I can also understand why they're doing it, and just watching that internal struggle with both sides. I thought it would just help the story. So that's why I did that. I also have another secondary character named Mitch, and he's Immune, and he winds up being part of a terrorist group who fights the Inflicted.
So what'd you fall in love with Helen for? What made you fall in love with her?
Just the strength, and then being able to, I love the idea of her working her way up through the government and through the systems while keeping her partner hidden, and having to maintain that relationship, and having to just, what would that be like to have to go, basically having to keep all these secrets while you're helping everyone, and just what would that be like from a morality standpoint? Yeah, that's what was fun about it, and just interesting. And she's just a strong character. And when you have a strong character, you just want to keep going sometimes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You don't want to kill them off. I need to keep going.
I don't know. I like killing off good characters.
He does. Okay. He does. Like that. Yes, he does. I have it's more like a statement for you, Seth, but it can lead into a question. So I haven't completed my thought, but we're going to work this out together. Okay. Yeah. We're going to work it out. Okay. So I'm a huge lover of The Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead. Huge lover. Daryl Dixon was my man, still is to this day. He does no wrong. Okay. So even in Ballerina, it's a whole thing. Anyways, so I love those. I don't know why I've had like this fascination with it. My daughters have inherited this. And I'm sure that you're aware Disney has this like series, Zombies. It's a series, right? And it's like a whole utopia that's not realistic about like zombies and humans and aliens all coexisting, living together. But listening to you talk to yours, to me is just like the more badass version of that that I would thoroughly enjoy. And we don't have musicals going on, right? But it made me think of that, and I was like, well, that's like the kiddie version, but this one sounds like the much better, more realistic version of it. And I love it. I'm a zombie lover. I love to go down that rabbit hole. I do think zombies are going to come one day. I'm not a doomsday preparer, but I feel like I would survive because I've watched so many of them. But I feel like it just made me think of that. And I was like, your book sounds way better than those movies. So thank you for that. I'm excited to read it. It's my kind of genre. It's what I enjoy. It's my escape from reality. Like Russell's, yours is sci-fi space shoot 'em up-ums, right? Mine is zombies attacking, eating people, and maybe coexisting and not forgetting that people were mean to them. I don't know. That's it's my happy spot. So thank you, Seth. We worked this up. We unraveled my statement together. I love it. Thank you. Valerie, continue.
Well, I didn't know if that was ever going to happen.
Oh, Russell. Valerie, continue.
I'm dying. Well, I'm reading right now the Buffalo Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones, and the graphicness of it. Do you have a lot of in yours as well?
So there is a little bit. I do tone it down a little just because. So at the time I was writing Immune, so I've worked in residential settings for a long time. My field is adolescence development, 10 to 19, and I knew when that story got published, all of the youth I've worked with would want to read it. Like, obviously. So, I mean, it is a little graphic, but I've toned it down to where, it's fine for young adults to read. So, I mean, yeah, there's, zombies getting stabbed and killed. There's a wonderful scene, just for the heck of it, I'll tell. The main character, Wyatt, and his niece, Layla, the reason they discover they're immune from when they know they were immune from the virus, but they weren't sure about when they become zombies. And there's a part in the story where they're in this town where they're being held hostage and the zombies invade and attack the whole city, And the scene when you think they're about to die, they're in this bedroom and all the zombies come flying through the door and they all stop within like 2 feet of them. And that's when they realize, oh, we're immune. Like they smell, but they won't eat them. But now it's like, we also have to get out of this town and there's hundreds of zombies in front of us blocking us. So they basically have to spend the next 2 hours just hacking and chopping all the zombies in order to create a way to get out of the town. So that's a scene that's a little long and bloody, but it was fun. It was fun.
That sounds exciting. That sounds exciting. And when did and I know like in World War Z, they had to get a vaccination to become immune. Are your characters born with the immunity, or how did they discover they're immune?
So I had that be with their blood type. Those who are A positive were immune. It was their blood type. And that's my blood type, by the way, so I didn't get overly creative. I just picked mine. So that's how I did that. But that's what I thought. Like, it was just their blood type is what makes them immune. It was actually kind of
zombies smell it, or they smell it, or how does that work?
Yeah, they smell the blood. Yep, they kind of just smell it.
Gotcha.
Yep. There was a funny moment actually during COVID when I was at the gym back, before completely everything locked down. And I remember there was a news article above, and it was talking about they were doing research to see if your blood type determined if you got COVID or not. And I was sitting there going, well, that's freaky. I wonder if that's interesting. Because Immune, unfortunately, this is its second release. Its first release came out December of 2019. So it's kind of a bad time for a pandemic narrative right before COVID. So hopefully it gets reborn now that everyone's settled down and is, relaxed a little bit more.
Hey, there's never a bad time for zombies and all that. And you'll probably appreciate this story. I was teaching a lesson last week about gingerbread men to second grade. And I was like, just, tell me about your gingerbread man. Where does he live? Blah, blah, blah. And this one student, he was so insistent that his gingerbread was a zombie. And then the only way they could kill him was a laser gun with snowballs. So I was like, hey, whatever works, I'm going to see your work later on down the road.
I agree with him. I agree with him, hands down.
That's so funny. But I was like, hey, zombies are everywhere. Second grade, the grown-ups, whatever.
We love it. It's quite the genre.
Yes. Are you having any extra?
Sorry, what?
No, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, and I love a good zombie story where you don't know it's a zombie story. Like you buy the book and they don't tell you it's a zombie story, but it just gets worked in there. I like that even more
Yes.
too when you discover a story that you had no idea.
Yes. Yeah, and especially like, you know, you don't know if it's going to turn like vampire or
Yeah,
zombie or what is the situation because and then it takes everybody by surprise. Is that what happens in yours as well?
yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
Hmm.
the zombies are not part of it right away. It just kind of starts off like a normal pandemic narrative where millions are dying and there's just having to adjust to like mass graves and um, then of course everyone who is getting infected gets mad that if you're immune you can continue on with your life and that class struggle continues and there's a lot
Oh,
of
yes.
infighting between that. It's not till
Mhm.
later on until like the middle of the story. So the zombie part is actually only like maybe 20% of the story. The rest is either before the zombies or after when they come out of the zombie phase and
Yeah.
rebuild society and yeah.
Hmm. It definitely sounds like you have a sequel.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I've
Yes,
had some
yes.
ideas. I've written some short scenes, but nothing's come together
Hmm.
quite yet.
And where can everybody find your books?
Well, you can get them on any online bookstore. Like you can go to Barnes and Noble, BAM,
Hmm.
any bookstore in town that you want. And you can order them online. Amazon, obviously. I'm working on getting them in bookstores. I'm in the process of trying to get them into Barnes and Noble. So hopefully we'll see how that
Hmm.
goes. Yeah. But they're
Awesome, awesome.
self-published, so it's a different route besides traditional
Yes.
publishing, which is I am trying to get into with my current novel that is in going
Hmm.
through the editorial process. My editors going through the process of ripping it apart, which is what we need sometimes. But once
Yes.
that's done, then I'm going to try and go the traditional route with that
Hey,
one.
you're
Hmm.
amongst friends because self-published is what we love. Valerie
Hmm.
self-published. Russell was until I published his books. And so self-published authors is like our realm. We love that. So you are amongst friends and welcome anytime because
And we
we
know the
absolutely
struggle.
love that.
Yeah.
Oh man, the struggle. But I will be completely honest with you. Some of the best books that I have read have been self-published or even on like these web-based apps, you know,
Mhm.
like that I love, and Russell makes fun of me all the time because I have like 16. But and I read scene by scene and I know it gets expensive, okay? Anyways, some of the best stories that I've read have been on there, you know, and so it's I don't know. I think they're the underdog, but there's just like pure raw talent there. And I love it. But
Mhm.
let's do last minute questions, comments from Mr. Russell. Take it away, Russell.
Seth, what book are you reading right now?
Ooh.
Oh, that's a good question. I actually just finished Animal Farm, like I said, so I haven't picked up a new one. I'm debating about either Frankenstein or I do have the that book that's real popular right now, The Housemaid, or was it The Housemaid?
Yes. By
Yeah, the House
Frida.
by free. Yeah, I do have that book sitting on my shelf. My wife has been begging me to read it so I can talk to her about it.
Hmm.
So I'm debating about either that one or Frankenstein because I am interested in reading Frankenstein. It's just a story I've always put off, but I know I'd love and like, and it's like I don't know why I've put it off for so long. So
Is that the
I'm
one
debating
that,
about that.
that Netflix made the movie about?
Yes.
Is
Yeah.
it? Yeah, because it's up for like big awards.
Right.
Hmm.
Well, it's such a
Okay.
classic story. I mean, Mary Shelley's, in my opinion, she's definitely on the Mount Rushmore of, authors who made that genre popular, like the horror genre and all that. I mean, she's definitely on there. So, yeah. And I've seen all the movies, and so
Yes.
it's like I don't know why I
Hmm.
don't read it yet. I feel like I'm behind, but oh well.
No.
Yeah.
No.
There was another great
Never.
author. I did buy. Oh, that's right. I did buy another book from Jennifer McMahon. It's The Drowning Kind, I think it's called. I'll have to look. I'm bad with titles. I'd have to relook. But I love Jennifer McMahon too. Her stories are awesome. Hers are great.
Hmm.
Nice.
That's awesome.
I love it. All right, you guys. Well, you guys, if you are not ready for the holidays, well, join the club, okay? Because I'm not either. So
Yeah.
hunker down. We can be stressed out together, everybody. But I want to thank Seth for joining us this morning to talk to us all kinds of fun stuff about zombies and his book. And you guys know that books make the best holiday gift. So make sure that you go and check them out. Go and check out Seth's book. But until next time, you guys, we are on countdown to the holidays and the stress meter to the max. But we hope that everybody has a fantastic Monday, a great rest of your week. And until next week, bye for now, everybody.